paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, yeah, it's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And
I
yes,
don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the edition of Brainstorm Brewery. I'm your host, Cass Lynn, joined here by my co-hosts, Corbin Osler and Jason All. We're here to talk
We were
about
doing
the
a speed
Commander...
run, any percent world record attempt. We were going to try to finish a 1 hour cast in 45 minutes. Can we do it?
I think we can. Remember when we did a 5-minute episode for our listeners?
Yeah.
Honestly, they deserve that.
It was the most popular episode of the cast ever.
That's funny. That was
It
funny.
gave them
well,
it gave them the idea to do fast finance. They're like, wow, a 5-minute episode of Brainstorm Brewery. We should do something like that every week. We'll have a podcast called Fast Finance. We'll condense all the most important information into 3 hours.
yeah, that's does that show still exist, Jason?
I have not worked for MTG Price in over a year, so I do not know.
It's been a lot longer than that, Jason.
What do you mean?
I think I think it's been longer than a year since. But anyway, the point is...
Yeah, I said
that's
longer than a year.
Okay. That's a very dated reference. It's a very dated reference there. Also want to point out, by dating ourselves, we harken back to a time when this show was dominated by financial discussion and deck brewing, but financial discussion, and people wanted the financial discussion condensed into 5-minute topics, and that's all they wanted was the picks of the week. Now we spend an hour talking about the that happened with the Commander stuff, and everyone loves it.
They hate the pick of the week.
They love banter, and they love there was a really good old Jerry T quote, which is like, nothing you write between the deck lists matter. Just make sure the deck list is good.
Yeah.
Pick of the week is our deck list.
Yeah.
It's the recipe you scroll down to.
You got to get through Mario Batali's description of growing up in the Italian countryside and his apology letter, and then you get the brownie
Then
recipe.
you get that orange frosted cinnamon roll recipe that
Was it cinnamon rolls?
It was orange frosted cinnamon. It was very Mario Batali because he's got the orange Crocs and everything. It was.
I just want to point out, there's been a lot of talk about the death of Magic content lately. That quote came from a time when Magic writers then took it as a challenge upon themselves to say, I'm going to write articles that will not sell cards. They will not give you a deck list. They will be about my personal thoughts and feelings about generally anything happening in the world.
Well, that was Star City Premium. That's why I subscribed to Star City Premium, to not be sold singles.
You just jumped all over the bit, man. You destroyed me. I was literally
It was so much setup, dog. What are you?
I was literally in the Star City sentence, man, and then you just interrupted me, and now no one gets the bit.
Corbin the Machine Hostler is really what we're going for here.
Like, I was literally saying, and Star City paid him hundreds of dollars for it, and then you were like, oh yeah, best Star City Premium. I was like, blah.
We're gonna have like a 30-minute cast this week, and I'm into it. We
Good.
can just end the podcast forever.
Just cut us.
Yeah, this could be our last episode. What is this? Episode 5 something, 6 something?
I'm finally getting paid for this.
Yeah, Jason pulling out at the worst time here.
Speaking of getting paid, it's time for our shout-out segment. To all of our listeners, I will shout out pretty much anything you want, as long as it, isn't horrifying. For some amount of money. My Venmo is @DevotedDruid. Send an amount of money, and if it's enough, I will shout out your thing. I won't tell you what enough is, and if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Mm-hmm. Our shout-out segment for this week.
It's $1.
This goes back to Jason, I think, started this segment, essentially, right?
And nobody sends me beer anymore.
Yeah, so send Jason beer so he can get back in on this segment. But Cass, you've got the floor.
Some of these shout-outs are more expensive than others, to be clear. So we got a shout-out to Life from the Loam. Big fan of that one. Second shout-out, Life from the Loam again. We dredged it 3, we put it back in our hand, we cast it again. Makes sense?
Sick.
Third shout-out to Croc. Singular, not Crocs, not the shoes. Croc, no other explanation, apparently.
The DC character?
Shout out to Surgical Extraction on Life from the Loam, specifically.
Oh.
Meow. That was an expensive one. Shout out to Misogynist Nathan, Lemon Bars, Misogynist Nathan again, and one more time, Misogynist Nathan. Shout out to Misogynist Nathan. And that's all my shout-outs for this week. I received some amount of American dollars for that segment. Thank you so much for your patronage. And
I don't
We
think
have to
Misogynist Nathan shouldn't have to tell you anything 3 times.
I actually said the fourth one was free. That was on the house.
I like that we disclosed for, FCC compliance reasons that was a sponsored segment. That was good. Otherwise, I would have had to come in and drop the hammer and say, no segments that are not disclosed their sponsor.
I
Now,
announce
this
my
next...
prices. I will meow for a 120. Send me a 120 or a KBS or money
Get
to
your
buy
best
one of
meow,
those.
Jason.
Not for
You
free.
can't give away the goods for free. Yeah.
Just know that my meow is very good. It is
My meow is adequate at best.
It is more degrading than Cass's. Like, I will be more degraded, and you should give me a 120 or a KBS.
You assume that I'm not degraded by it.
I just know I will be more.
I think we should move on before this show degrades any further. And that's why it's time for a segment that is hashtag not sponsored, but we do want to give a shout out
It's
to our
called Pitch
sponsor,
the Patreon.
which you can find at patreon.com/BSB, of course.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, break in bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
We want to give a shout out to our sponsor, MTGstocks.com, the #1 place on the internet for all of your Magic financial needs, especially if you check out the premium side of the website. You can get access. One of my favorite features on the premium side of the website is the monthly interests, not just the weekly interests that are available, but you can see what's gone up specifically over the last month, which obviously captures a much different time period than simply daily or weekly changes. So check out MTGstocks.com, which is where we get all of our breaking bulks, which is the not sponsored segment coming up right now.
They don't send us ad copy to read because we actually use the website. If we sponsor, if we like pitch Manscaped, for example, we were reading ad copy. But for MTG stocks, we don't need ad copy. We actually use the website every day.
Well, and shout out to Pika Stocks, which I also use every week when I write my Pokemon articles for TCG.
Oh, that's like stocks for people who eat cigarette butts and hair and shit like that. Yeah, Pika stocks for people suffering from the disease Pika.
Never heard of that one. All right, I'll start things off with a breaking bulk here, and I'm incredibly confident that Jason won't get this one.
I won't?
Cass might. This card's from Universes Beyond Assassin's Creed. It's an uncommon. Does that disqualify?
Brotherhood's Regalia?
Nope. It's a red uncommon.
From what set?
Red. Is this the one that's only in the starter deck?
Assassin's Creed.
It's like a human creature. It's in the starter deck only.
No.
There's like 12 cards in that set.
Yeah, it's sorcery. I'll tell you that I only know like 3 of the cards in the set. If you asked me this, there's zero shot I would have ever got. However, I looked at this set yesterday, so now I get to get you all.
Yeah, I can only think of like 5 cards in the set.
This
total,
spiked with Bloomborough, for what it's worth.
I forgot that
What
set.
set? One more time. What set?
This set is from Assassin's Creed.
And it's a red uncommon?
Sorcery.
It's a commander
Is it a
card.
sorcery?
Sorcery. Commander
How many
card.
times was it printed before Assassin's Creed?
0.
Is this the one that...
Okay.
Is this like a card that like moves equipment or something? There's no way.
And it's not a dude.
This is my victory lap for sure.
I bought
Yeah, I mean-
I bought a bundle of Assassin's Creed, which means I have 3 copies of every uncommon. So
Now you do probably have it, and you probably have it in your bulk, but it turns out it's $1.50.
Hold up.
wild.
I'm
dude.
cheating, but I want to get there myself. Is it... Oh, I think I know which one it is. Is it... To be clear, I did cheat for this one, but is it Monastery Raid?
Nope.
So it's got to be Overpowering Attack.
Like,
There
Overpowering
were
attack
exactly
is
2 possible options for that, by the way. There's only 2
Yeah.
red uncommon sorceries
I know.
in the set.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I don't know the other one.
overpowering.
I know the legendary creatures that are red uncommons.
Yeah. Well, overpowering attack is $1.50. It is a 5 mana red sorcery, but it has free running of 3. so you can cast a spell for its free running cost.
That's why DJ's not here. He paid a free running cost that he up his leg again.
He would have got it, yeah. If you have dealt damage with an assassin or a commander. Untap all creatures you control that attack this turn. You get an additional attack phase.
Well, $1.50 is way too cheap for a card that says additional attack phase. Like, the rarity in Assassin's Creed doesn't matter. Because you will get more legendary creatures than you will uncommons, even if they're rare. So, like,
why is that?
I don't know. Dude,
Okay,
the bundles
I
are
don't know.
fucked. Like,
Okay.
the booster boxes, your LGS still has... there are 3 booster packs missing from the first box of Assassin's Creed that your LGS put out on the
look,
counter.
here's the thing. There's actually pretty expensive cards in the set, though. I've thought about whether it would be worth doing anything with it because of that.
My extra bonus secret pick of the week is already expensive, but it's Excalibur. If you can get Excalibur under $10, you can do it.
Well, yeah, that I remember when that one first spiked because I think we talked about it on this show. The Comic-Con or whatever event where they just previewed these Universes
Captain
Beyond
America
cards. Yeah, where they previewed the Captain America and all of this stuff. Those cards actually leaked onto Facebook Marketplace a month or so ago, and Excalibur popped for the first time. So yeah, it's kind of that is a wild way for it to leak. It looked like somebody essentially took things from a warehouse, a
printer,
distributor,
yeah,
whatever, like somewhere they weren't supposed to get them, and then we're like trying to sell all of the stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And now again, we're just going off of the photos and the alleged stories here. It would seem that they didn't even realize that part of what they wherever they got these goods, which seems to probably have not been legit since it had unreleased promos in it. Wherever they were just trying to offload all of it, and they didn't even realize that they had unreleased promos in it.
Yeah, they thought they just stole some Magic cards and they were going to sell some Magic cards. Yeah, that's the funny part.
Yeah, right. So
it's like, no, the police are not going to get involved. The Wild West detectives are actually going to. Imagine a horse-drawn carriage outside your house and 3 guys jump off with Remington repeaters. Like, where you at? And they just start
literal
firing into your living
Pinkertons,
room.
man. Literal Pinkertons of the internet coming from.
Pinkertons, man. Their headquarters is like an hour and a half from me, and I hate it. Because everyone's like, "Why don't you burn down the pit?" Because they'll find out. That's what they do.
It is what they do. So from Assassin's Creed, yeah, Ezio, the Black 2-drop is worth almost $40. There's a sort of, these are the borderless versions, right? But there's a sort of Feast and Famine. There's another sort of Feast and Famine, and basically all of these legends that are, or the Excalibur, the cards that are in Sweet Art are $10+ already.
It's just a confusing game series for them to pick. It's like not especially popular. It's just a thing.
I met people who got into the game because of it.
It's like them doing a Foot Locker Secret Lair or something like that. What, you don't like Foot Locker? Like, yeah, sure. Like, I guess.
I love
like,
Sack's Secret Lair.
I met people the Bloomborough pre-release who got into Magic because they loved Assassin's Creed. And they bought Assassin's Creed booster packs.
You know what?
They were at the pre-release.
Good.
Fantastic anecdote.
That's what we want, because those assholes are going to buy cards forever now. They're hooked, because their dumb favorite game, which is not Fallout, it's Assassin's Creed, so they suck. Their dumb favorite game got them playing our dumb favorite game, and good.
I got my Secret Lair Ghostbusters and Secret Lair Slimer in.
I know.
I love you.
I got Street Fighter and Fallout and all the stuff I like, and I was like, Doctor Who. I'm selling my. You knew I was going to keep all my decks.
Well, that's different.
Selling
your decks is different. Selling your decks is different than like.
Oh, selling your decks is.
I have a ton of Magic cards that if I decide I want to sell out of Magic, I'll do, and I'll still have my decks because I look at them as different things.
I'm tempted to pan my camera to my desk to show everybody what selling all your cards looks like. Here we go. All right. This is what selling everything looks like.
Jason, that's so many.
Look how big that stack is. Yeah,
bro, that is so many.
This is I've bought in like the last
fraction of that on my desk, and they're all Pokemon.
I bought a fraction of that in the last couple of weeks. So I
also got baseball cards here.
Yo.
All right. Yep, that's
All right, let's get some more breaking bulks in here. Why don't you give us that, Jason?
That's my weird life. Oh, well, hey, I've got one that is going to blow your... I'm going to do a DJ thing and be like, this is only the $5 version of this. There is a $5 version of an uncommon that has 2 and an asterisk reprintings, right? No, 2 and an asterisk printings. So
Okay.
it was essentially printed exactly twice. The first time's Eventide. The second time was a dual deck. Not an EDH deck, a dual deck. The third version has a $5 version. What is this Eventide Black Uncommon creature?
Is this the third version is from the list, but it's specifically from the Heads I Win, Tails You Lose deck? I'm going to guess it's the Dominus of the blue.
It is
the
from
blue-red
it
shipment?
is Dual Decks Anthology. I will
Oh.
tell you that.
Fucking sure, bud.
Why would a black uncommon creature be in the Heads I Win, Tails
Thought
You Lose?
pick-
I don't know. I wasn't listening to you, really.
Okay.
Thought Picker Witch.
No. Thought Picker
The
Witch. That was
Siege
common in
Mirror?
Ravnica. What are you talking about?
Obviously don't know the cards, man.
All right, that's
Beseech the
fair.
Mirror?
No.
I actually played a lot of Eventide.
Beseech the Mirror
but-
is not a creature. And
but wasn't
Beseech the
like-
Queen is the Eventide Black Uncommon sorcery.
I didn't.
Unmake
didn't
is the
listen to what you
black
were
white.
saying.
Unmake is the black white uncommon.
This is mono black.
Removal spell. There's
What about
also
creature you said?
It's a creature. It is a 1/2 flyer.
is Footbottom's Feast from Shadowmoor.
No, and it's red, and it's
Is this the one with like
is
the
Footbottom Feast red?
No, it's a
negative-
black
negative
common.
counters?
Oh, that's Crush Underfoot or whatever. There's so many like hot foot related cards about foots going in mouths and
Okay, so
stepping on
tell
people.
everybody.
When I see a bunch of feet cards, I just get so horny I can't remember what like color they're supposed to be. I just imagine myself getting stepped on.
Tell me one more time what this is.
It's
Is
a
it Korath
black
Knight? No, it's
No.
Black uncommon.
It's a 1/2 flying black uncommon creature originally from Eventide, and then it was in Dual Decks Divine versus Demonic, and then it was in Dual Decks Anthology. The Dual Decks Anthology version is $5 on TCG Player. There are 5 listings. $5 is the cheapest. The most expensive is $25. The market price is over $1. I got a feeling weirdos on Direct like DJ randomly got $11 for this card last week, and he's like, let's go. So like, I'm gonna be a DJ this
You
week.
said it's a 1/2 flyer.
Soot Imp. Whenever a player plays a non-black spell, that player loses a life.
Hey, Jason.
Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls, loves this.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah, what?
We're gonna kill you with hammers because of this.
With him? I'm not a
This
turtle.
card, wild. This card just.
I'm not
spiked.
ET. I'm not,
We're killing this guy with hammers.
I'm
has
not
never
ET
been-
that you can just kill with hammers.
This has never been breaking bulk in history until 2024. It started climbing from 10 cents, and now the Eventide version is over 50 cents. It's a $10 foil. Huh,
Whenever
I
an
didn't know
opponent
about this
loses
one.
life for the first time during each of their turns, put a 1/1 counter on Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls, and draw a card. Whenever they play a non-black
see.
spell, you draw
I
a
see.
card.
It's all Valgavoth related.
Valgavoth is the #1 commander this week on EDH Rec. And
It's
Valgavoth
been- yeah.
is good in other formats too, maybe? I mean, the other Valgavoth, certainly, but maybe Harrower of Souls? Who knows? The red-black Valgavoth is the one that's good in EDH. And, if you went to EDH Rec...
Are you
would
talking
see
like
that-
Legacy?
What?
Are you talking like Legacy with Harrower Souls?
No, the mono-black one is the one
Oh,
that's
I
in
understand.
Reanimate.
Yeah, I understand.
I was just goofing.
Yeah, the red black
Because there are
one
two
has been-
Valgavoth, and
Yeah.
that annoys me. There are two
The-
Zimones. It's annoying.
Well, the red black one has been just dominating card spikes over the past month. It's I got a whole section on TCG Player right now about Valgavoth related spikes.
I mean, Mogus, Cataract Parasite, Fate Unraveler, all the cards that spike together.
Nekuzar cards.
But listen, you know how many it's a meme at this point how many times I have bought and sold the same copies of Teferi's Puzzle Blocks to Card Kingdom. We just send the cards back and
Sure.
forth, and I make money every time.
That's funny. That's true.
And it's they're not in the business of giving a about what happens to Teferi's Puzzle Blocks, because Card Kingdom is in the business of just doing volume. And
My breaking bulk is a Duskmourn House of Horror Gold Uncommon.
In what colors?
gold.
I don't have to tell you what colors. It's gold. It's a creature, if that helps.
A creature?
Creature.
Is it
What
Inquisitive
colors?
Glimmer?
It is Inquisitive Glimmer. Well done.
That's a
fair
good
enough.
card. It
Card
has
is,
one relevant ability and one not relevant ability, and I would rather that a
one
card
of those
like
abilities
this. Go ahead.
is relevant in Standard. The room ability is relevant in Standard.
Okay.
There is a blue-white Eerie, I believe is the name of the mechanic deck,
Yeah.
that plays this card, and this card buy list for $0.25,
Mhm.
and you will find these in your bulk still, and I have a feeling that this card does not have a floor of a buy list of $0.25.
What is the full name?
Inquisitive Glimmer.
The blue-eye one?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the thing
this-
about this that I really like is it says enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and like this is good outside of like fucking Duskborn block constructed EDH. You know, it references rooms, but this is not a rooms only card. You know,
Right.
the same thing they did with Marina Vandralda, like make her like exciting outside of just putting all 10 room cards they've ever printed in the same deck and calling it a day.
I mean, yeah, they Eerie is obviously just enchantment fall plus, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it works really well, because it makes everything like I've done a lot of Duskmorn, limited and standard, everything getting ready for the World Championship next week, and the entire set plays very well together. It's just a really nice design of the mechanics overlapping and things like that. Manifest Dread, Fuels Delirium, etc.
I just want to say that, like, you know, as much as we are fair to Wizards, and we are harsh when it's fair to be fair to Wizards. So I think it's only fair to like, give them kudos. I like this design templating moving forward, where you reference the set ability, but the creature's non-trivial outside of those builds. So it's not just this card every time you play a spell with kicker, do this. So like, you know, I like that Inquisitive Glimmer is good if your deck has 0 rooms in it, but it is better if you have them.
Plus,
That's cool.
Plus it's blue-white, right? And a lot of these effects are traditional
green-white.
or green-white, so it gives them a whole new slew of decks sort of access to it. I don't think I would play this in my Oloro deck unless I reworked it to include a lot more rooms, but honestly, maybe I should. That sounds kind of fun.
Or just build a new deck, dog.
Well, I have 13.
Seriously, Corbin, spend $50.
No,
and
that's
make
not
a
the
new
problem. I'd spend $500 if I let myself build a new deck. That's the problem. I have 13 decks. Well, I have 13 decks, and it's too much to carry, so I just got to stop. I got to stop.
No, you don't carry your fucking Oloro deck because it's not 2014.
I love Oloro, man.
You stop bringing Oloro and
like a
Keranos
fun enchantment
and
deck. No.
Gamers.
Carador? You
Gamers.
probably hate Carador.
you have Carador and Keranos, and I don't care. You're a fucking Karen.
I started on my first Commander project in a very long time.
Ooh, what is it?
We got the Omnath with the stamp for the game store that I learned to play Magic at.
Yeah, you
Which
do.
Omnath?
Championship one. And then a serialized Karuga.
Ooh, that's fun.
Ooh.
That's
Ooh.
Doing a little. I'm gonna put Trinisphere in my EDH deck.
I have more than 5 Omnath decks. That is what I will
I
say
have-
about Omnaths.
Jason,
I
how
have
many
most of
commander
a
decks?
commander deck. Like
How many
most of
commander
one.
decks do I have? 30, probably. Yeah.
You have 30 built commander decks in paper.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
my thing
bringing
is
12
I like
to
to keep,
Vegas.
I like to keep my decks updated, man. And that's too many to keep updated.
My decks don't cost $1 billion because I don't put f***ing Smothering Tithe in everything. Like, I play cards that are, they're cheap because they are good in one deck, and that's.
I only
deck.
put the most expensive version of cards in like half of my commander decks.
Okay, listen. I supported my LGS starting in 2020 by going in there and being like, "Hey, I have a big dick. Here's my credit card." So
Well,
I have.
see?
I wouldn't
you
buy.
see how it works out for me.
I don't go in there as like, "Hey, do you have any like alternate art triomes?" I say, "Give me all the alternate art triomes in the store," and then they do. So
Those are
The secret,
fucking cool.
The secret now is to just build Gym Leader Challenge decks for Pokemon.
Ooh, I
They
got
can't
some
hurt
Pokemon
you
cards
with the
here.
we're
Commander
all
ban
just
list.
holding shit up in front of the if you're not going to YouTube.com and seeing what we're showing to the camera from our desks for free, I get it. You're like, it goes great. Nobody paid.
That was great, guys.
I
There's a
got a
price.
feeling the second
There's a
somebody
price
pays,
I'd do it for, but it's
That
pretty
was
high at this
great.
point.
You-
I got a
That was
lot to
great.
lose.
So if you don't know what happened this week, it goes back to what happened a month ago with the Commander stuff, Rules Committee stuff. In a nutshell, the Rules Committee disbanded. Wizards now has control of the format because they passed it over to them. That has resulted in the creation of a Commander format panel similar to the Pauper format panel, which
the
gives
CAG is
input on
dead.
Pauper
Long
bans.
live the Commander format panel.
Yes, exactly. The CAG is dead. The RC is dead. We now have this, although Gavin
Long
did say
live the
in
CAG and the
article-
RC.
Couldn't
Yeah.
they come up with like the Commander Advisory Panel, the CAP? Why does it have to be this?
Yeah, well,
No cap.
no
We
cap.
changed it from 1 syllable to 14. You're welcome.
Well, they got to
That's
keep
the
it
only
with-
difference. The only difference is you can't say CAG anymore because it's
We
the
have-
same people.
We have
Which is more
Pauper
rigmarole.
We have the Pauper format committee, and now we have the Commander format committee, the CFP, if you will. A lot of people say, Jason, it's magic. People say CFB all the time. They can say CFP. It's not as easy as
No
CAG,
one said
I'll give you
CFB in a
that.
while, Corbin.
They say we're talking about college football.
College football B? What's the B?
What do you think of the Commander format panel, Jason?
It's the same people as the CAG and the other panel smushed together. They added some people. Some people are like, "Oh, it's only content creators." Yeah, it's only people invested in the format. Shut the f- up. Like, it's fine. It's good.
Well-
Everybody on there cares that
Yeah.
Commander is good. This panel's a Rorschach test.
That's
it's
why
a
I
Rorschach.
asked.
You look at this list of names, you're like, look at all the. And if you don't like the list, it's because you f***ing suck and you don't deserve good things. If you look at this list and you're like, wow, these people all make content, they're thoughtful, they care about the format, this is a good panel, it's because you don't suck. So, like, stop telling on yourself by how you react to this announcement, I guess.
So the other thing that they announced on this article today is that they will be revisiting the ban list. Now, it is worth noting that they said when they banned the Vast Mana that those are cards that would not be designed today, and they consider them mistakes, which is not the same as saying that they won't come off the ban list.
We wouldn't
although
design them today. We designed them 4 years ago.
It certainly points to them. I mean, remember, they once said we won't reprint Lightning Bolt into standard without being extremely careful and thoughtful about the process, and then spoiled it like a month
But we
later
will
and
print
said-
Felidar Guardian without
They printed
checking what
it-
else we printed.
They spoiled Lightning Bolt a month later and said, hey, we thought about it.
We thought about it.
Like, literally, that's what happened. So, with that said, I don't think that those cards are coming off the ban list. But some cards are coming off the ban list because they said they are not banning additional cards at that time. But they will be unbanning or looking at unbanning cards. So I think
Unban,
Coalition Victory
and
is
Tolarian
selling
Academy.
a lot.
this is going to be the
Tolarian
long-awaited.
Academy.
This will be the long-awaited cleanup of the original Commander ban list with all the crazy cards.
Tolarian Academy exists in two kinds of commander decks: CEDH decks and perverts who have no friends. So it's totally fine to be legal.
Because the decks with Tolarian Academy are only goldfished anyway. It's fine. You're only hurting yourself. Rofalos can
Yeah.
come off the ban list, probably.
Do that braids.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't.
Braids.
The thing
Oh,
is with
that-
cards.
I know
like that.
braids is a problem, but in Shieldred's fine. Okay, interesting.
That's what I'm saying.
Which Shieldred, Jason?
Any Shieldred. Any Shieldred's
them.
worse than braids.
None of them. Yeah, well, that might be true.
Mm.
I probably. I mean, the difference is that braids is cheaper and whatever.
Oh,
but I do agree
braids
that like
is such a problem anywhere. Here's what's his name? Turgrid. Here's Tiny Bones. Like, what are you talking about?
right. I don't think that it would be banned today, right? If they were to restart the ban
Turgrid
list.
is not on the ban list, but braids is. Come on now.
Right. Yeah. So I think stuff like that will probably get updated. Okay. Before we get out
Limited
of here,
resources. It's the name of a podcast. Should be unbanned.
good logic. They should print a card named Brainstorm Brewery.
They should. They should give us a preview card.
Well, or that.
They should
I'm
give
sure after this.
Rec a preview card.
I'm sure after this episode, they'd love to give us a preview.
They should give My Feet a preview card.
Sure.
Before we get out of here this week, let's knock out some pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Reminder, you can go to Coalesce Apparel and Design, use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery, get 5% off your order, and you can pick up a nice t-shirt with all the money you'll make from these picks of the week. Jason, go ahead.
Okay, so I said my secret pick of the week was Excalibur. Not super gettable under 10, but you can still find them. You can mop them up. Go to Cardsphere. That's what I think. Go to Cardsphere and pick up this card, Bludgeon Brawl. Bludgeon Brawl turns anything into an equipment for Captain America to throw at their face. Darksteel Reactor, Bludgeon Brawl. So I really like the fact that Bludgeon Brawl is already kind of like selling a little bit on TCG Player. People are noticing. People are, that all the obvious stuff spiked when Captain America was spoiled a month ago by some weirdo. But now we have people like who got the official go-ahead to start putting their decks on Architect and stuff. And we are starting to see people are picking up that Bludgeon Brawl. That's a
nice pick.
Rare.
Nice pick.
I love that pick. I have a pick that is a card that's already a little bit pricey for what it is, but I think it's got room to grow because it's fairly low in supply. My pick is Ancient Cornucopia from the Big Score. It's a mana rock that gains you life when you cast multicolor spells. There is sort of competition in Standard now with Overlord of the Hauntwoods, which I think is a much better card, but as aggro decks get more and more popular, there is a possibility that you end up wanting to play more copies of this because gaining incremental life can be really important to not dying to Heartfire Hero and Slickshot Show Off.
Right.
Don't you gain a life for every color of the spell you play?
Yep.
That's pretty nasty.
Yeah. So like you play this on turn 3, on turn 4 you play some gold spell and gain 3 life, and then just like every turn you get to gain like 2 to 3 life if your deck is constructed correctly, which makes so that aggro just doesn't get to close you out with burn ever.
No, incremental life gain's really powerful, and I think it's generally, can be really powerful. I think it's generally a sign of good Magic formats when incremental life gain is good.
Yes.
Very nice.
Get that timely reinforcements out of the sideboard to make that aggro red matchup an actual matchup.
Which now timely reinforcements is just Beza the Bounding Spring.
Exactly, Beza's insane.
Beza's so good.
All right, I'll round it out here. I've got another Captain America related pick as well. Open the Armory is starting to move on TCG Player as well because you got to have a card to go get that Excalibur. And that's what Open the Armory does. Searches your library for an equipment.
Stone Hero Giant's too cheap right now. Stoneforge Mystic is always going to be nuts, but Stone Hero Giant is just one of those cyclical cards, man.
I remember right after its first like big reprint in Double Masters, the first one, that card was a quarter. The card was a quarter on TCG Player, and I bought like 50 of them, and I sold out at like $2 being like, you know what? I'll take the 8X.
Yeah.
Should always wait more on that one. Just
I took the 8X on Stoneforge Mystic. I was buying those as a quarter before they printed, what's that card? Batterskull. So
I was really into Stoneforge Mystic in Standard before then because I love the card Behemoth Sledge. I deeply love Behemoth Sledge. I love Adventuring Gear. I owned like 12 Stoneforges. I love the aggro decks. And they printed the good equipments, and I was like, there we go. Now I can trade for Jaces with my 8 extra Stoneforges.
Nice.
I will say that I went to a GP in Canada with like 1 million copies of Stoneforge, and I got $2 trade-in for all of them and built a legacy deck. So, did I up? Yes, because I sold the legacy deck. But the point
one of my favorite trades that never ended up happening was Grand Prix Minneapolis, the Hogak one, and I was talking to a guy and like just hanging out in the hall, and he wanted to pick up a Mox Pearl that I had, and he had just like a stack of Grand Prix Stoneforge Mystics.
Ooh,
and
nice.
Eventually I was just like, nah, that card's not that good. It's banned in Modern. And then a couple months later, I'm like boarding my flight home from Grand Prix Vegas, and I get a text from my friend being like, hey, Stoneforge got unbanned, and I'm just like, why do I still have this fucking Mox Pearl? It was like 70 of them or something, maybe more.
Ooh.
At like $8 a piece or something, just like
rough beats.
Yeah, I mean, makes for a good story.
It does.
That's
That's
good
right.
beat stories too, but nobody wants to hear them. So
Right.
like,
Story equity.
Bad beat stories.
Story equity is important. Also important is all of our listeners who go to patreon.com/BSB and make this podcast possible. Your support is what allows us to have a staff to bring this show to you every week across platforms, including anywhere you can get your podcasts and youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery. We appreciate all of our listeners. We appreciate our sponsors, Coalesce Apparel and Design and MTGstocks. And we will see you next week here on Brainstorm Brewery.
We appreciate
Venmo is at Devoted Druid. Bye.